What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back for episode number 6 of 5 Questions with Levi, and man, like I keep saying, I am so glad that this series has been doing so well. Thank you all so much for asking questions, and to everybody else that's been watching this series but have never asked me a question, what are you waiting for? Send me questions in the comments section below for episode number 7 next week. And without further ado, let's do this! First question comes from Space Metal Ferrari 248. How did you get into NASCAR in the first place? Well, my family's always been big NASCAR fans, even before I was born. Like my 2 older brothers, Rue, rest in peace, and Jason, as well as my parents. They just loved NASCAR growing up, and also, prior to when I was conceived, their mutual all-time favorite was Davey Allison, and I can certainly see why. He was one of the best that sadly passed away before he really got to be one of the best, truly, of all time. I guarantee you, if he was still alive, he would have won quite a few championships. I don't know if Earnhardt would have gotten to 7. I don't know if Gordon would have won 4. But that's one of them what-ifs of NASCAR. That would be a good series, the what-ifs of NASCAR. But nonetheless, so I kind of was already interested in it based off that. However, I didn't really get into it on like a regular basis until about 2005 when Carl Edwards came across, or came into the sport in the Cup Series, that is. And when I saw him win that race at Atlanta, and the way he did it and doing the backflip, I thought that was awesome. And I had been a bigger fan of the sport ever since, even though my hope for the sport has been kind of dying off lately because of fucking brain-dead Brian France. But nonetheless, basically, short, sweet, to the point, my family's always been big into NASCAR, going back to the 80s, early 90s. And then I got into it fully in 2005 because of Carl Edwards. So, yay! Next question comes from BlazeLife334. What are your favorite PS3 and PS4 games? That's a tougher one because, well, all my PS3 and PS4 games are at the very bottom of my second shelf over here. I don't have very many PS4 games. I got a couple on the actual console that I got from either PS Plus membership discounts or whatever, like Rocket League and games like that. But as far as like my favorite PS3 game of all time, I'm trying to go with one that's not NASCAR or WWE. I'm actually going to go with Gran Turismo 5. I had a ton of fun racing Gran Turismo 5, both single player and online. I thought that was one of the best racing games I ever played, and it was my first real GT game I really ever played because, well, I didn't know that much about Gran Turismo prior to 2010, and over 1,000 cars, including NASCARs, and the NASCARs ran beautifully on Daytona. Like, it felt realistic. It was really well done. But also racing like the supercars and open wheel cars, I thought that was always fun. And the graphics were just beautiful. As far as favorite PS4 game, I would say either Rocket League or Grand Theft Auto 5. I still play GTA on occasion. I haven't played it in the last couple of months, however. But I know there's a new special DLC coming out, I would say next week, which is like owning nightclubs and dance clubs and stuff like that. That would be really cool. But the one thing I'm hoping for a DLC for GTA 5 before they release GTA 6 is casinos, because you got the casino racetrack, horse racing track. I wish you could go into casino and actually gamble. That would be amazing. So, yeah. So my favorite PS3 game would probably be Gran Turismo 5. For PS4, it's a toss-up between Grand Theft Auto 5, and Rocket League. David Rivera, Ford Minor Projects, back asking, he has 2 questions. I should put like a 1-question limit on these, but I don't mind at all. What is your favorite vacation spot to go to, and when are you coming to North Carolina again? Well, my favorite vacation spot to go to has usually always been Smoky Mountains, Tennessee, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, just because me and my family, we typically go there at least once a year, and we've already done that this year, but it was one of the worst trips, just mainly because I've told the story about, you can actually look it up on the channel, a story about the worst vacation ever, I believe was what the title was. You can go back and watch that video and you'll get an understanding of how that trip went. But Smoky Mountains, Tennessee typically is my favorite vacation spot, just because you can do so many things. You go to dinner theater shows, you can race go-karts, go to a little vintage CD store that I like to go to get some more rare albums. Hopefully if I go back there again this year, I can go back and get a couple more albums that have been sitting there for a long time that I would really love to get, like Megadeth Hidden Treasures and stuff like that. But nonetheless, that would be my favorite spot. Next to it would be Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Alabama, because it's the best beach, in my opinion, to go to. And when am I coming to North Carolina again? I don't know what part of North Carolina. It could be the Outer Banks, or it could be Cherokee, could be Charlotte. I don't know when I'll be back in North Carolina. Probably more likely the next time I go back to the Smoky Mountains, because Cherokee is like less than an hour away, so probably the next time I go to the Smoky Mountains would be when I go back to North Carolina again. But yeah, that's basically that, David. Next up from Mr. Death Metal. I try to do the Broken Hope vocal voice where he sounds like he's vomiting. Who are your top 5 death metal guitarists? Well, the number 1 is easy, Chuck from Death, because he was just such a master player, one of the greatest guitar players, and not just death metal, or in all of metal, but in all of music. So Chuck is the easy number 1. Now the rest will be a little tougher. I would say maybe number 2 would be Trey Azagtooth from Morbid Angel. Number 3 for me would probably be someone like Muhammad Shamez from Necrophagist. I think he's a hell of a player. See, I believe Terrence Hobbs from Suffocation would be up there. I like his tone. And then perhaps number 5 would be Michael Amott from Carcass and Arch Enemy, because, well, old Arch Enemy from like 2007 back. I would say Michael Amott, whereas recent times, I don't know. But yeah, I would say Michael Amott, particularly for his Carcass work on Necroticism and Heartwork. He was a hell of a player. So the last few were kind of off the top of my head. However, I was dead set on the top 2, Chuck and Trey, because those guys were like masterful players. So there you go. And the last question comes from the Gaming Pedigree. Do you think Ronda Rousey will win the Raw Women's Championship before the end of the year? I would think she would, perhaps as early as SummerSlam, because I guess what they're going for with this storyline now with her and Alexa Bliss now is it's all perhaps leading up to Ronda getting the title from Alexa, and perhaps the only reason why they have the belt on Alexa Bliss right now is to be a transitional champion, so that way they can try and keep Nia looking strong, but also keep Ronda strong by having Alexa cash in her Money in the Bank. I've said my piece about Alexa Bliss in the Money in the Bank review. I don't really need to bring up that can of worms again. But do I think Ronda Rousey will win the title? I would say yes. However, it could be as early as SummerSlam. Granted, if WWE doesn't pull off trying to do another Stephanie McMahon Ronda Rousey match this year, I believe that should wait for something like Survivor Series or something like that. I feel like they need to put the belt on Ronda at SummerSlam to kind of really pay off this storyline they've got going now with her and Bliss. So there you go with that. Do I think she will? Yes. And that does it for episode number 6 of 5 Questions with Levi. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and like I said, to those who have been asking questions, or people who have watched the series but have never asked questions, what are you waiting for? Send them in the comments below, and I will answer them next week for episode number 7. But until then, peace out, and I will see you very, very soon.